Over the years, Terraria has been a part of 10 entire crossovers with other games. Some of them are with super popular games like Stardew Valley and Minecraft, but Terraria has also collaborated with lesser known titles like One Drop and Worms 3. Today we're going to be taking a look at Terraria's collaborations and ranking them from worst to best. The only two that I'm not going to include from this ranking are Project Zomboid and Worms 3. Number 8. Minecraft. This is possibly the worst Terraria crossover, not because Minecraft is bad or anything, but because it literally only adds one item, the Creeper Vanity Set, or I guess 3 items. I think a crossover between these two games actually has a lot of potential. Basically everybody who plays Minecraft plays Terraria and vice versa, and there are so many iconic things from that game which could easily be added to Terraria. Even something as simple as the Minecraft sheep as a regular animal roaming around the overworld would be a pretty cool Easter egg. There's no point in thinking about what could be though, all that matters is what we have right now, and what we have right now is basically nothing, just one vanity set. Number 7, Core Keeper. Just like Minecraft, there is a really good potential for this game to have a crossover with Terraria. That potential just wasn't really realized. The only item Terraria added for this was the Glow Tulip. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever discovered this item or used it in a regular playthrough. At least Core Keeper added King Slime to their game. A new boss is far more impactful than whatever this thing is. I'm not the biggest Core Keeper fan in the world or anything, but it is a pretty decent game, so I kinda just wish this crossover was a little bit more special. Number 6, Edge of Space. You might be asking me, what even is Edge of Space? Well, it has a 2.5 star rating on Steam, so I think that's all you need to know. I wasn't really involved in Terraria when this crossover happened, but something tells me that there wasn't a lot of hype for it, because everybody has seemed to forget that it even happened. The SDMG is the one item that came out of this crossover. Odds are you didn't even know that this was a crossover item, because it's kinda just a Terraria thing now. I didn't even know about this until I checked the Terraria wiki and saw, oh, this was a crossover, I guess. The reason I have this above Minecraft and Core Keeper, despite the lack of interest in Edge of Space, is because of the item itself. The SDMG is way cooler than the Creeper Vanity Set and a random flower from Core Keeper. The good news is that this is the last Terraria crossover so far with only one item, and all of the ones we're going to be discussing next are much better. Number 5, Pixel Piracy. This collaboration is kind of the bridge between mediocre to very good. In terms of quality, it's in the middle. Not bad by any means, but not memorable or cool either. The Pixel Piracy crossover adds a few items, but the only one that actually matters is the Pirate Staff. This is one of those random summoner weapons that quickly gets outclassed by other weapons around its stage of the game and doesn't really serve that much of a purpose. The Pirate Staff is so absurdly rare. It has a 1 in 500 chance of being dropped by the Pirate Captain and a 1 in 100 chance of being dropped by the Flying Dutchman. And it's not worth it at all either, since you can easily get weapons like the Sanguine Staff or Spider Staff around the same time, and those weapons are about as good in terms of damage and value. If you're going for a normal summoner playthrough, there's simply no reason to go out of your way to get the Pirate Staff. At the end of the day though, this crossover is still much better than the previous ones we've mentioned, just because it provides more than one item. Number 4, Stardew Valley. I'm probably biased when I put this one above Pixel Piracy in the rankings, but can you really blame me for being biased towards one of the greatest games of all time? A Stardew Valley Terraria collaboration is just perfect. They're both super popular indie games with small dev teams, sandbox-like gameplay, and a practically identical audience. When it comes to what actually got added from this crossover though, I mean, it's okay. One thing the crossover added was the blue chicken. It doesn't actually do anything, but I would argue it's one of the coolest pets in the game. Another pet that was added was the Junimo, which is definitely the best addition from this crossover. The Junimos and Stardew Valley are basically inseparable. Something like this just had to be in the game for the crossover, and I'm glad it is. And then you've got the last item that was added in this crossover, Joja Cola, and you know, it exists. Number 3, One Drop. Just like the SDMG and Edge of Space, I had no idea that this crossover was even a thing. The One Drop collaboration is single-handedly responsible for the yo-yo subclass in Terraria being as popular as it is. I always wondered why there were so many yo-yo weapons, and this definitely explains it. The Rally, Code 1, Valor, Cascade, Format C, Gradient, Cheek, Code 2, and Yellets were all added as a part of this collaboration. This means that of the 21 yo-yos available in Terraria, Terraria, basically half of them come from this one crossover. I was never a big yo-yo class guy. To me, it's kind of boring and stale in comparison to the other classes. Mods do make it a lot more fun, but you know, that doesn't really count. With all of that being said, it would be crazy for me to rank the one-drop collaboration any lower than number 3. My personal preference would definitely go towards the Stardew Valley collaboration, just because I like that game more and personally prefer the items, but hey, even I can't deny there is an ambitious amount of content coming from this crossover. Speaking of ambitious content, number 2, Don't Starve Together. Just look at how much stuff this crossover added. That alone justifies its placement. Not only is there a whole bunch of new content because of this collaboration, but most of it is actually pretty cool. Deerclops is one of the least well-designed boss fights in Terraria if we're being honest, but the fact that we got a whole new boss fight instead of a couple pets or weapons is still awesome. He scratched that itch that a lot of Terraria players had for a snow biome boss. Now all we're waiting for is a real boss in the desert biome. The music for this boss fight is also incredible. I don't know if it's inspired by a piece from Don't Starve Together since I haven't played that game yet, but either way, it is phenomenal. One of my favorite songs in Terraria by far. The Bone Helm is the expert mode drop from Deerclops. It's not the worst expert mode item drop in the game, but it's definitely on the lower half. It kind of feels like a reworked bone glove, and that's all you really need to know. It's nothing special. When it comes to things this crossover added unrelated to Deerclops, a lot of it is just vanity like these paintings, but there's also a lot of other stuff that actually fits into Terraria very well. The Bat and Tentacle Spike, for example, don't even feel like crossover items to me. They blend into the game seamlessly. Abigail's Flower is the clear standout when it comes to weapons that actually came out of this though. I hear a lot of people say that the summon is actually really good compared to a lot of the other summoner weapons in the game, especially early game. I wouldn't really know since I've only played summoner a few times, but this item is still a great addition to the game, despite how immoral it is to even help out summoner players. I would honestly say that this is one of the few Terraria crossovers that really lived up to the hype, you know, a bunch of new items, cool weapons, and even an entirely new boss fight. Number 1, Dungeon Defenders 2. This crossover is very simple. It's the Old One's army. All of the new armor sets, weapons, and even bosses from the Old One's army technically came out of this collaboration between Terraria and Dungeon Defenders 2. There's really no need to explain in detail why this would be number 1. The Old One's army is the most expansive event in Terraria by far when it comes to content. A lot of people don't like this event, probably because it's very focused towards summoners and has a weird gameplay loop, but at least to me, the Old One's army is amazing. Some of the weapons you can get out of this late in the game, like Betsy's Wrath and the Flying Dragon, are genuinely broken when you can obtain them. Betsy is also a really fun mini-boss, and the event as a whole offers a nice optional challenge for people who want something new in Terraria. Whether you like the Old One's army or not, it's impossible to deny that this is the most impactful Terraria crossover in history. The sheer amount of content that came out of it is insane. I just hope that one day we can see Terraria have a crossover with a real deserving game, my favorite game, the greatest penguin heist of all time.